A data store defines the information required to access a specific database. From Genexus, when defining an environment, you can access the default data store that will allow you to access the database associated with a generated application. From its properties, it's possible to specify the following: the server name, the database name, user, password, and so on. When is it necessary to use multiple data stores? As we've said, a data store defines the information to access the database associated with the generated application. But it's also possible to define other data stores to establish the information to access other databases and read information. For example, databases in external applications. To define a new data store, right-click on the data store node and select the New Data Store option. After selecting the DBMS, enter the name for the new data store. Next, through the properties, enter the necessary information to complete the definition of the connection. You can edit the connection data of a data store by accessing and modifying the associated properties that we saw before, or by right-clicking on the data store and selecting the Edit Connection option. It's also possible to modify the associated DBMS by right-clicking on it and selecting the Change Data Store option. Thus, each environment can have a list of data stores defined under its data stores node. The first one defined in that list is always the one considered when pressing F5. To delete a data store from this list defined in an environment, simply right-click on the selected data store and choose Delete. Note that the default data store cannot be deleted, and neither can the references to data views associated with external databases. Now let's look at the concept of service-type data stores. Many times, we need to integrate a Genexus application with external data sources. When this source comes from a DBMS and direct access is allowed, the reverse engineering process, dbret, can be used to integrate it to the Genexus model. Currently, when the interface with the external source is not SQL, the integration with Genexus must be done through external procedures or objects. The drawback to this solution is that it doesn't integrate the data source to the Genexus model, so it's not possible to use natural language constructs, and other types of constructs are limited and cumbersome. Therefore, in this scenario, it's not possible to generate navigations for this data source. To solve this, a mechanism has been added to Genexus to be able to integrate external non-SQL sources to the Genexus model. One of the possible data sources is an OData service. An OData service exposes a data model that's external and independent of Genexus. From Genexus, it's then possible to consume this OData service, which allows performing CRUD operations on the entities it exposes, that is, to create, read, update, and delete information. For each of these entities, a dynamic transaction associated with the service is generated. This mechanism incorporates a new type of extensible data store, the service-type data store. In this way, a Genexus navigation can be calculated on this data store and then translated into a query to the external source. The definition of this service, be it the URL, the access credentials, and so on, remain in this service-type data store, and the dynamic transactions created are also associated with it.